The hum of machinery vibrated beneath my fingertips as I stood in the dim light of the control room, studying the glowing screen in front of me. The ancient texts sprawled across the table, their pages filled with cryptic symbols and beautiful illustrations that depicted the world I was about to enter. I had spent countless nights deciphering their meaning, captivated by the idea of a lost civilization. The Daughters of Light, a name that echoed in the whispers of explorers and old legends. My heart raced at the thought of stepping into a realm untouched by humanity, a world where beauty and danger intertwined. "Jack, are you really going through with this?" My colleague, Sarah, leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, concern etched across her face. "You've heard the stories. They say the forest is alive, and those who enter never return." I turned to her, a mix of excitement and trepidation swirling inside me. "That's exactly why I have to go, Sarah. What if the legends aren't true? What if the Daughters of Light are just misunderstood? This could change everything we know about this galaxy." She sighed, pushing a stray strand of hair behind her ear. "And what if you're wrong? What if they really are dangerous? You're not just an explorer, you're a human being. I don't want to see you get hurt." I appreciated her concern, it grounded me. But the pull of the unknown was too strong to resist. "I can't shake this feeling, Sarah. I feel a connection to them, a call that I have to answer. I have to see it for myself." "Just promise me you'll be careful," she replied, her voice softening. "You're my best friend. I couldn't bear to lose you to some ancient curse." With a reassuring smile, I nodded. "I promise." But in my heart, I knew that the thrill of discovery outweighed any fear I felt. The journey to the distant planet was set, and soon I would be stepping into the lush bioluminescent forest that had captured my imagination. As the ship blasted off into the star-speckled void, I couldn't help but feel a sense of exhilaration wash over me. The hum of the engines was a comforting reminder that I was leaving behind the mundane to chase after a dream. The stars blurred into streaks of light, and I found myself lost in thought. What would I find there? Would the Daughters of Light be as ethereal as the legends described? Days passed in a blur of anticipation, and finally the planet came into view, a swirling orb of vibrant colors. As I descended through the atmosphere, the ship shuddered slightly, and I caught my breath. The forest spread out before me, a vast expanse of luminescence that seemed to pulse with life. My heart raced as I prepared to land. The moment my feet touched the soft, mossy ground, I was enveloped by the scent of blooming flora and the gentle hum of the forest. The colors were beyond anything I had imagined. Glowing blues, purples, and greens danced around me, creating a dreamlike atmosphere. I stepped deeper into the woods, my senses heightened by the otherworldly beauty surrounding me. "Wow!" I whispered, my voice barely breaking the silence. It felt as if the forest was breathing, alive with secrets waiting to be uncovered. I took a moment to absorb it all, leaning against a tree that radiated gentle warmth. "This is incredible." As I ventured further, the sounds of rustling leaves and distant melodic chimes filled the air. I paused, straining to listen. It felt as if the forest was trying to communicate with me, guiding me deeper into its heart. "Hello." I called out, my voice trembling with a mix of excitement and fear. "Is anyone there?" There was silence for a moment, and then a soft rustle caught my attention. Out of the shadows emerged a creature unlike anything I had ever seen. It was small, with shimmering fur that reflected the bioluminescence around us. Its large, curious eyes stared at me, and I felt an inexplicable connection, as if it understood my presence. "Hey there, little one," I said, crouching down to its level. "Are you a friend of the Daughters of Light?" The creature tilted its head, its ears flicking back and forth. It seemed to study me for a moment before bounding away, glancing back as if to beckon me to follow. Heart pounding with excitement, I followed the creature through the winding paths of the forest. The plants seemed to shift and sway, guiding me along as if the forest itself was aware of my quest. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being led somewhere important. "Where are you taking me?" I murmured, half to myself as I navigated the vibrant undergrowth. The colors around me grew more intense, and the air was thick with the scent of flowers bursting into bloom. The creature paused, turning to look back at me with an expression that seemed to say, "Trust me." Suddenly, a series of soft melodic sounds echoed through the trees, and I stopped in my tracks. It was beautiful, a harmonious blend of notes that resonated with the very essence of the forest. My heart raced as I realized I was close to something extraordinary. I took a deep breath, the air thick with anticipation, and continued to follow the creature. As we reached a clearing, I was struck by the sight before me. Bioluminescent flowers swayed gently, their petals reflecting the soft light that enveloped the space. The ground sparkled as if sprinkled with stardust, and in the center stood an ancient tree, towering and majestic. Its trunk was wide, and its branches reached out like arms embracing the sky. "Wow," I breathed, stepping closer to the tree, feeling its energy pulse through the air. I could sense that this was a sacred place, a sanctuary for the Daughters of Light. "This is incredible." The creature bounded forward, and as I followed, I noticed shadows flitting between the trees, watching me with cautious curiosity. I felt their eyes on me, and a thrill of fear mixed with excitement coursed through my veins. Were these the Daughters of Light? "Is this where you live?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. The creature chirped softly, and I knelt down, reaching out a hand.
"Y come in peace."
I only wished to understand. Just then, the air shifted, and I felt a presence behind me. I turned slowly, my heart racing, and there they were, the Daughters of Light. Tall and graceful, their luminous blue skin glowed softly in the twilight. Their hair flowed like liquid light, and their eyes sparkled with an otherworldly wisdom. I was awestruck, unable to find the words to express my admiration. "Who dares to enter our sacred grove?" One of them spoke, her voice like the chiming of crystal bells. There was a hint of caution in her demeanor, and I instinctively raised my hands, palms out. "I'm Jack Mason, an explorer from another world," I said, my voice steady despite the pounding of my heart. "I mean no harm. I've come to learn about you, to understand your story." The daughters exchanged glances, their expressions guarded yet curious. "Why do you seek us?" another one asked, stepping forward, her eyes shimmering with intrigue. "Many have come before you, drawn by tales of our beauty, yet few have left unscathed." "I've heard the legends," I replied, my conviction growing stronger. "But I believe there's more to your story. I want to help if I can. I sense you're suffering from something that binds you here." Silence enveloped the clearing as the daughters considered my words. I could feel their skepticism, but there was also a flicker of hope. "Very few have spoken of such things," the first daughter said, her voice softer now. "You are brave to come here, human, but bravery alone may not be enough." "I'm willing to do whatever it takes," I assured them, determination etched across my face. "I want to understand the truth behind the legends, and if there's a way to lift whatever curse binds you, I will help you find it." The Daughters of Light exchanged glances, and for a moment, I held my breath, wondering if I had made a mistake. But then, the first daughter stepped closer, her gaze piercing yet filled with a glimmer of understanding. "Very well, Jack Mason. If you seek to uncover the truth, then you must first prove your intentions. The forest is alive, and it will test you. Only then may we decide whether to trust you." I nodded, resolute. "I'm ready." The journey ahead would be daunting, but I could feel the weight of destiny in the air. Together, we would unravel the mysteries of the Daughters of Light, and perhaps in that process, I would discover the true meaning of courage and connection. As I ventured deeper into the bioluminescent forest, my heart raced with anticipation. The vibrant colors danced around me, casting an ethereal glow on everything they touched. Each step I took seemed to echo in the stillness of the woods, and I could feel the weight of countless eyes watching me from the shadows. The air was thick with magic, a palpable energy that made the hairs on my arms stand on end. I had come in search of the Daughters of Light, and the moment I had long awaited was finally upon me. Suddenly, I stumbled into a clearing, and there they were, tall, graceful beings with luminous blue skin that glimmered like the stars overhead. Their beauty was breathtaking, each one a living embodiment of the forest's magic, and I felt an overwhelming sense of awe wash over me. I had read about them, heard the whispers of their existence, but nothing could have prepared me for the reality before me. Yet, as I gazed upon them, I noticed their expressions were guarded. They stood in a loose circle, their eyes wide and shining but filled with a mix of curiosity and caution. My heart sank slightly at the realization that they were not the welcoming spirits I had hoped for. Instead, they seemed to embody the very legends that had surrounded them, a mysterious beauty shrouded in danger. "Hello," I called out, my voice trembling slightly. "I'm Jack Mason."
"Y come in peace."
It felt foolish to introduce myself, but it was all I could think to do. Instead of responding verbally, they began to communicate in soft, melodic sounds that resonated with the forest around us. Their voices blended with the rustling leaves and the gentle hum of the flora, creating a symphony that both soothed and unnerved me. I strained to understand, but their language was unlike anything I had ever encountered. It was as if they were speaking through the very essence of the forest, using its rhythms and pulses to convey their thoughts and feelings. I took a cautious step forward, hoping to bridge the gap between us. I don't mean any harm. I came to find you, to understand your story. I gestured to the forest around us, trying to convey my sincerity. I'm not afraid of you. One of the daughters, with hair that shimmered like silver threads woven into the night sky, stepped closer. Her luminous eyes locked onto mine, and for a brief moment, I felt a connection, a flicker of understanding. You seek the truth, she asked, her voice like a gentle breeze. But the truth is shrouded in shadows. I nodded, my pulse quickening. Yes, I want to know what happened to you. I've heard tales of a curse, of betrayal. I want to help. The other daughters exchanged wary glances, their expressions a mixture of skepticism and intrigue. I could sense their hesitation, the weight of their past pressing down on them like a heavy fog. The air was thick with unspoken fears and ancient wounds, and I knew I had to tread carefully. You are brave to come here, another daughter said, her voice melodic yet firm. But bravery does not erase the past. We are bound by it, chained to the forest by the sins of one who betrayed us. What if I told you that I believe in redemption? I replied, my heart pounding. What if I could help you break those chains? There was a pause, and I could feel the tension in the air, thick and electric. The daughters studied me, their luminous forms casting an otherworldly glow across the clearing. Finally, the first daughter spoke again, her voice softer now, as if the forest itself had calmed to listen. Redemption is a fragile thing, she said. We have waited for centuries, and yet the shadows still linger. You may be brave, Jack Mason, but bravery alone cannot dispel the darkness that binds us. As she spoke, a shadow flickered at the edge of the clearing, and I felt a chill run down my spine. The atmosphere shifted, and I knew instinctively that we were not alone. I turned my gaze toward the darkness, my heart racing. The daughters tensed, their bodies instinctively drawing closer together, their expressions shifting from curiosity to fear. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows, a dark spirit, its form swirling like smoke, exuding an aura of malevolence. I gasped, recognizing the embodiment of everything I had feared. The creature loomed over us, its presence suffocating and oppressive. Foolish human, it hissed, its voice like gravel scraping against stone. You think you can save them? They are mine, bound to me by their own treachery. The daughters recoiled, their luminous skins dimming under the weight of the wraith's words. I felt the air grow colder, and the once vibrant colors surrounding us began to fade into darkness. My heart raced as I realized the gravity of the situation. This was the force that had cursed them, the reason for their suffering. Leave them be. I shouted, trying to project courage against the encroaching despair. You have no power here. The wraith let out a bone-chilling laugh, a sound that echoed through the forest like thunder. Power? You know nothing of power. I feed on their fear, their sorrow. Their bonds to me are unbreakable. Not if we stand together, I retorted, my voice steady despite the fear coursing through me. I turned to the daughters, urging them to find their strength. You are not alone. You have each other, and you have the light of this forest. We can fight back. But the daughters were hesitant, their eyes reflecting the turmoil within. I could see the doubt creeping into their hearts, the age-old scars of betrayal resurfacing. We cannot fight what we cannot see, one of them whispered, her voice trembling. Then let me help you see it, I said, desperation creeping into my tone. We will face this together. I will stand with you against the darkness. You are more powerful than you realize. For a moment, silence enveloped us, the only sound the rustling of leaves and the distant hum of the forest. The wraith loomed over us, its presence dark and overwhelming, but I felt a flicker of hope ignite within me. I reached out, my hand extended toward the daughters, my voice steady. Trust me. Slowly, one of the daughters stepped forward, her luminous skin beginning to glow brighter. We have been afraid for so long, she murmured. But perhaps it is time to confront our past. As she spoke, I could feel a shift in the air, a palpable energy beginning to build. The other daughters exchanged glances, their expressions softening as they found courage in each other's eyes. Together, I urged, We can release the hold this wraith has on you. We can break the curse. With a newfound determination, the daughters stepped closer, their radiant forms merging into a circle around me. The wraith snarled, its dark energy swirling in agitation. You think you can defy me? It spat, but I could see the uncertainty flickering in its shadowy depths. Together, I repeated, my voice strong. We will face the shadows. In that moment, the forest around us seemed to respond, the bioluminescent flora pulsing in rhythm with our hearts. A wave of light surged from the daughters, enveloping us in a cocoon of radiance. The wraith recoiled, its form flickering as if it were struggling against an invisible force. Feel the light. I shouted, my voice rising above the chaos. Embrace it. The daughters' voices rose in a harmonious melody, a song that resonated with the very essence of the forest. It was a call to the light, a plea for freedom from the bonds of darkness. I could feel their energy merging with mine, a powerful surge that filled the air with warmth and hope. And in that moment, I knew we were on the brink of something monumental. The shadows may have loomed large, but united, we would confront the darkness together. The wraith's laughter faded, replaced by the sound of light breaking through the veil of despair. We were ready to reclaim our stories, to face the truth that had long been hidden in the shadows. As the dark spirit loomed before us, its form twisting like smoke caught in an unseen wind, I felt a shiver creep down my spine. The air thickened with an unsettling energy, the vibrant colors of the bioluminescent forest dimming under the weight of its presence. The Daughters of Light stood beside me, their luminous blue skin shimmering like stars against the encroaching darkness. I could see fear flickering in their eyes, but I knew this was a moment we had to face together. The wraith of betrayal let out a chilling laugh that echoed through the forest, reverberating off the glowing trees. So, the human thinks he can save you? How naive, it taunted, its voice a slithering hiss. You are bound to this place, trapped by your own past. And he, it pointed a shadowy finger at me, is nothing but a fleeting spark, destined to extinguish. Your words mean nothing, I replied, trying to muster the courage I felt slipping away. We are not here to be your prey. The Daughters of Light are stronger than your darkness. They carry within them the essence of this forest, and they will not be silenced by your lies. The wraith's form twisted, its features contorting into a mocking grin. Ah, but you do not understand. The betrayal that binds them runs deep. It was one of their own who dooms them to this fate. The trust you seek to build is a fragile thing, Jack Mason. I turned to the daughters, who were now staring at the wraith with a mix of horror and determination. They had been living under the shadow of this curse for far too long, and I was beginning to sense the depth of their suffering. What happened? Tell me, I urged gently, trying to break the tension that hung heavy in the air. One daughter stepped forward, her skin glowing a brighter shade of azure, illuminating the darkness around us. Long ago, we were a thriving civilization, connected to the stars and each other. But one of us, driven by jealousy and greed, betrayed our kin. She sought power and made a pact with the darkness, believing it would elevate her. Instead, it fractured our society and bound us here. Her voice trembled as she continued, we were cursed to remain in this forest, cut off from the universe we once knew. The wraith feeds on our despair, and each day we grow weaker, trapped in the memories of that betrayal. The wraith laughed again, a cruel sound that sent chills through my body. Yes, remember. Remember how your sister turned against you, how her heart was consumed by darkness. You cannot escape it. You are forever marked by her treachery. But we can break free. I shouted, feeling a surge of defiance. Together, we can confront this wraith. We can face the past and rewrite our story. The daughters looked to one another, uncertainty flickering in their luminous eyes. I could see the fear of the wraith, yes, but beneath it was a glimmer of hope, a desire to reclaim their agency. What if we confront the truth? I suggested, my voice steadying as I realized the path forward. What if we acknowledge the betrayal, not as a curse, but as part of your history? If you embrace it, maybe you can find the strength to overcome it. The daughter who had spoken stepped closer, her eyes reflecting the bioluminescent glow of the forest. But what if the truth only deepens our wounds? What if it only feeds the wraith's power? Then we will face it together, I insisted, meeting her gaze with unwavering determination. You are not alone in this. If we confront the wraith, we confront our fears, and we break the cycle of despair. I believe in you, in the light you carry. A murmur rippled through the group, a flicker of hope igniting in their hearts. The wraith, sensing the shift, howled in fury, its form contorting as it lunged toward us. "You think you can defy me? I will consume your light and leave you nothing but shadows." But I saw it for what it truly was, a creature born from fear, fueled by the despair it had sown. "No!" I shouted. "You will not take them from me. You will not take their light." In that moment, I felt a surge of energy, a connection to the forest itself. The ground beneath us hummed with life, the trees vibrating with a resonance that echoed my own heartbeat. I reached out, urging the daughters to join me. "Focus on your light. Let it shine brighter than the darkness." The daughters raised their arms, their luminous forms pulsing with energy. Together, we summoned the bioluminescence of the forest, channeling our combined strength into a radiant wave of light that surged toward the wraith. The shadows recoiled, and for the first time, I saw fear flicker across its twisted features. "You cannot," it began, but the light wrapped around it, binding it in a cocoon of shimmering brilliance. The wraith writhed and screamed, its voice a cacophony of rage and desperation.
Now. Ikrit, embrace your truth.
Embrace your past. The daughters called out, their voices harmonizing in a melody that resonated with the very essence of the forest. As they sang, I felt the power of their connection, a bond forged through shared history and collective pain. The wraith shrieked, its form flickering as it struggled against the light that encased it. The daughter who had first spoken stepped forward, her voice rising above the chaos. "We acknowledge the betrayal. We acknowledge our pain. But we also acknowledge our strength, our unity. We are daughters of light, and we will not be bound by darkness any longer." As her words echoed through the forest, the light intensified, enveloping the wraith in a blinding radiance. It screeched, thrashing against its bonds, but the more it fought, the stronger our combined light became. I could feel the energy pulsing through me, a vibrant connection to each of the daughters, and to the forest itself. Then, with one final surge of collective will, we unleashed our light, a brilliant explosion that shattered the darkness. The wraith let out a final anguished cry before it was engulfed, consumed by the very shadows it had once commanded. The forest erupted in a symphony of colors, the bioluminescent flora glowing brighter than ever before, as if celebrating our victory. As the echoes of the wraith's screams faded, a profound silence enveloped us. I turned to the daughters, their expressions a blend of awe and disbelief. The air felt lighter, as if a weight had been lifted from our shoulders. "We did it," I breathed, still in shock at what had just transpired. One of the daughters stepped forward, her eyes shining with gratitude. "You have shown us the way, Jack Mason. You have reminded us of our strength and the power of our unity. We are no longer bound by the past." I smiled, feeling a sense of warmth spread through me. "No, you are free. Together, we can explore what lies beyond this forest. Together, we can reclaim your legacy and connect with the universe once more." As the forest pulsed with renewed energy around us, I realized that we had forged a bond that transcended the darkness of betrayal. We were not just allies, we were a family, united by light and hope. And with that realization, I knew our journey was only just beginning. As the bioluminescent glow enveloped us, I could feel the pulse of the forest syncing with my heartbeat. The air crackled with energy, and the daughters of light stood around me, their luminous blue skin shimmering like stars against the dark backdrop of the towering trees. We were preparing for the confrontation with the wraith of betrayal. I took a deep breath, steadying my nerves. It was time to confront the darkness that had haunted these beautiful beings for far too long. "Jack," whispered Lyra, the daughter's unofficial leader. Her voice was soft, but it had a resilience that inspired confidence. "We must channel the energy of the forest. It will protect us, but we need to work together." Her eyes, pools of turquoise, held my gaze, and for a moment, I felt the weight of our shared purpose. "Together," I echoed, looking around at the other daughters. They nodded, their expressions a mix of determination and fear. I could see the bioluminescent glow intensifying around them, as if the forest itself was responding to our collective resolve. We formed a circle, joining hands. The soft hum of the forest grew louder, and I could almost hear the whispers of ancient spirits guiding us. I focused on the warmth radiating from the daughter's skin, the comforting light that seemed to ward off the encroaching darkness. "Let's draw the light together," I instructed, closing my eyes to better concentrate. "Feel the energy flowing through you and into the center." As we connected, a brilliant light blossomed in the center of our circle. I could feel the daughter's energies intertwining with mine, creating a protective barrier against the wraith.
Now,
I urged, remembering the stories I had gleaned from the ancient texts about the wraith's vulnerabilities. When it comes, we need to be ready. We must not let fear take hold. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. A chill swept through the air, and the shadows deepened. The wraith emerged from the forest, a swirling mass of darkness with piercing red eyes that seemed to absorb the very light around us. I felt a shiver run down my spine, but I refused to let fear take root. Stand firm. I shouted, my voice cutting through the tension like a blade. Remember the light. The wraith laughed, a sound so chilling it sent shivers through my bones. You think you can defeat me with light? You are nothing but a flicker in the dark, it taunted, its voice a mixture of malice and contempt. I could feel the despair it exuded, an oppressive force meant to weaken our resolve.
no.
Lyra cried out, stepping forward. We are not flickers. We are the daughters of light. We are stronger than you know. Her voice rang with defiance, and I felt the pulse of the forest strengthen in response. The wraith recoiled slightly, as if our combined strength had surprised it. Foolish beings, it hissed, you cannot escape your fate. You are bound to this forest because of your ancient betrayal. The darkness will always find you. I felt a flicker of doubt at its words, but Lyra squeezed my hand tightly, grounding me. We will not let your lies deceive us. We know the truth, and we will free ourselves from this curse. Her determination resonated through the circle, and I felt the energy intensifying. Focus on the light. I urged. Channel everything you have. As we concentrated, the light blossomed brighter, illuminating the surrounding trees and casting long shadows that danced in the night. The wraith snarled, its form twisting and writhing in discomfort. Stop this, it screamed, attempting to unleash a wave of despair upon us. I could feel the cold wash over me, threatening to extinguish the flame we had ignited. Hold on. I shouted, trying to rally our spirits. Remember why we are fighting. Remember your strength. I glanced at the daughters, their faces illuminated by the light we had created. We are not alone. We have each other. The daughters began to hum, a melodic sound that resonated with the forest itself. The harmony we created intertwined with the light, pushing back against the darkness. I could see the wraith faltering, its form becoming less defined as our collective strength surged. Your light is nothing, the wraith shrieked, but I could see the cracks forming in its facade. The swirling darkness was losing its grip. You cannot escape the past. But I knew we had to confront it. Lyra, tell me about the betrayal, I urged, hoping to find a way to weaken the wraith's hold. What happened? Lyra took a deep breath, her luminous eyes sparkling with tears. Long ago, we were a thriving civilization, she began, her voice steady despite the chaos around us. But one of our own, driven by greed and desire for power, betrayed us. She sought the wraith's dark gifts and turned against her own sisters. In her pursuit of strength, she cursed us all. The wraith feeds on that betrayal, I realized. If we remind it of our unity, we can weaken its hold. The darkness thrives on fear, Lyra said, her voice rising with newfound strength. We must not let it consume us. The wraith, sensing our resolve, surged forward, a wave of blackness crashing against our barrier. You will fail, it howled, but I could feel the cracks in its power deepening. The light we had created was pushing back against the tide of darkness. Together, I shouted, raising my voice above the chaos. We will not succumb to fear. The daughters joined their voices with mine, harmonizing in a way that resonated through the very fabric of the forest. The glow intensified, a brilliant beacon of hope against the encroaching shadows. I could see the wraith's form flickering, its red eyes narrowing in fury. Enough, it bellowed, and I felt a surge of energy as it unleashed another wave of fear. The shadows enveloped us, and I could feel despair creeping in. You will be consumed by your own darkness. Do not listen to it.
Ikrit, my heart racing.
We are the daughters of light. We carry the truth within us. I took a step forward, breaking the circle momentarily. Wraith, you thrive on our fear, but you do not know the strength we possess. We are not defined by our past. We are defined by our choice to stand together. The wraith faltered, its darkness wavering. You think you can defy me, it hissed, but I could see the uncertainty flickering in its eyes. You are nothing without your fear. We are everything with our light. I shouted back, feeling the energy of the daughters surge around me, a powerful wave of luminescence pushing back against the shadows. We will not be defined by betrayal, we will be defined by our unity. The wraith shrieked in frustration, its form twisting and contorting as the light pressed against it. I could feel the forest responding, the very essence of this place resonating with our defiance. Together, I called, feeling the connection between us strengthen. We can break the curse. The daughters echoed my words, the melody of their voices rising to a crescendo. The glowing barrier we had formed pulsed with energy, and I could see the wraith beginning to dissipate, its power faltering against the brilliance of our combined light. And no, it screamed, but the sound was fading, swallowed by the illumination we had created in our stand against the dark. As our voices soared and the light intensified, I felt a wave of hope wash over me. Perhaps, just perhaps, we could break the chains of the past and emerge from the shadows of betrayal. The air crackled with energy as I stood shoulder to shoulder with the Daughters of Light, our luminous forms casting a soft glow against the encroaching darkness of the wraith. I could feel the pulse of power coursing through the forest, a sentient force urging us to unite against the malevolence that had held them captive for so long. It was time to reclaim not just their freedom, but their identity as a tribe. "Jack," one of the daughters whispered, her voice a gentle melody that resonated deep within me. Her luminous blue skin shimmered like the ocean under moonlight, her eyes reflecting a mix of fear and determination. "We must remember the stories of our ancestors. Their strength is within us." I nodded, trying to keep my own fear at bay. "I remember the tale of betrayal," I said, my voice steady despite the turmoil within. "It fractured your bond, but it also gifted you a chance for unity. We can use that against the wraith." The forest seemed to respond to my words, the bioluminescent flora pulsating in rhythm with our hearts. The daughters closed their eyes, and I could see a collective memory flickering across their faces. They were recalling the vibrant past, their civilization thriving before the curse, a time when they danced under the stars, their laughter echoing through the trees. In that moment, I understood that we weren't just fighting for survival, we were fighting for their legacy, for a future unshackled from the chains of an ancient betrayal. "Let's do this together," I urged, my voice rising with conviction. "Let the light of your ancestors guide us." As if responding to my rallying cry, the daughters joined hands, their fingers intertwining like branches of a great tree. I positioned myself in the center, feeling the warmth of their energy envelop me. It was a sensation unlike any I had experienced, pure unadulterated strength flowing through our connection. "Focus on the light," another daughter instructed, her voice harmonious yet firm. "Let it shine brighter than the darkness." I closed my eyes, drawing in a deep breath. I visualized the glowing energy around us, the warmth of the forest, the love and hope that had endured despite centuries of despair. With each exhale, I felt the fear dissipate. Instead, I could feel a new surge of strength building within me, a collective power igniting our resolve. The wraith loomed larger, its shadow stretching across the forest, swirling like smoke. "You think you can defeat me?" it hissed, the sound echoing like a thunderclap. "You are weak, bound by an ancient betrayal. You will never escape your past." I took a step forward, the daughter's energy pulsing with reassurance at my back. "We are not weak," I declared, my voice cutting through the wraith's taunts. "We are united. The past does not define us. We choose to rewrite our story today." The wraith's form flickered, a momentary hesitation in its malice. "You know nothing of betrayal," it sneered, its voice dripping with contempt. "You don't understand the one who turned against us." I felt a chill run down my spine as the wraith's words hung in the air. "Then tell us," I shouted, drawing strength from the daughters beside me. "Reveal the truth." As if compelled by our united front, the wraith roared, "It was her. The one you call your sister, the one who sought power over love. She betrayed you all." The air shifted, and I could feel the daughters tremble beside me. One of them, a tall figure with flowing hair that shimmered like starlight, gasped. "Sister? How could she?" "It was fear that drove her," the wraith continued, its form writhing in fury. "Fear of being weak, fear of being forgotten. She thought that by binding herself to darkness, she could elevate herself above the rest of you." The revelation rippled through the daughters like a shockwave. I could see their expressions shift from fear to a fierce determination. "We will not let her choices define us," the tall daughter declared, her voice rising above the chaos. "She may have betrayed us, but we are more than her mistakes." "Exactly," I chimed in, feeling the energy of our combined resolve solidify. "Let's channel that pain into strength. Together, we are powerful. Together, we can break this curse." The wraith snarled, its form flickering as it realized its grip on our emotions was weakening. "You think you can overpower me with your light? You are but flickering candles against a raging storm." But in that moment, we stood taller. The daughters began to sing, their voices intertwining in a hauntingly beautiful harmony that resonated through the forest. The trees swayed to the melody, and the bioluminescent flora brightened, casting a radiant glow that pushed back against the wraith's darkness. "Feel the light," I shouted, my own voice blending with theirs. "Feel the unity. We are the daughters of light, and we will not be bound by the past." I could see the wraith faltering, its form losing substance as the light grew brighter. The forest responded to our call, the very air vibrated with energy, each note of the daughter's song intertwining with the essence of the bioluminescent flora around us. The wraith screeched, a sound that pierced the very soul. "No, this cannot be. You are nothing without your past. Watch us." I yelled back, feeling the power of the daughters surge with renewed intensity. "We are everything because of our past. It is the fire that fuels our light." As we channeled our energy into a singular force, I felt a wave of heat wash over us, an explosion of radiant light erupting from within. The forest pulsed with brilliance, illuminating every shadow, every corner that the wraith had claimed as its domain. "Together," I shouted, raising my hands as the light intensified. "Let's finish this." With a final crescendo, we directed our energy at the wraith, a dazzling beam of light surging forward. The wraith howled in rage, its form breaking apart under the sheer force of our unity. The darkness began to dissolve, scattering like ash caught in the wind. In that moment, I understood the profound truth of our existence. We were not defined by betrayal, we were defined by resilience, love, and the unyielding light that shone from within. As the last remnants of the wraith disintegrated into nothingness, I felt a deep sense of peace settle over the forest. The daughters turned to me, their luminous forms glowing brighter than ever before. "We did it," one whispered, her voice trembling with awe. "We are free." And in that instant, I knew we had not just broken a curse but had forged an unbreakable bond, a new legacy that would transcend the shadows of the past. Together, we would face whatever lay ahead, and I would stand alongside the daughters of light, united in our shared journey toward a brighter future. The energy pulsed around us like a living heartbeat, a radiant force that seemed to draw from the very core of the forest. I stood shoulder to shoulder with the daughters of light, our luminous skin glowing in synchrony as we faced the wraith of betrayal. The air was thick with tension, crackling with energy as the dark spirit writhed before us, its form flickering between shadows and darkness, a grotesque parody of the beauty that surrounded us. "Feel the strength of your light," I shouted, my voice cutting through the oppressive atmosphere. I could see the uncertainty on the faces of the daughters, their once guarded expressions now transformed into fierce determination. "We are not just fighting for ourselves, we're fighting for the legacy of your people." One of the daughters, Lyra, stepped forward, her long flowing hair shimmering with bioluminescence. "Jack, we cannot let fear guide us any longer. We must confront the truth of our past and the betrayal that has haunted us for so long." Her voice was melodic, yet it cut through the darkness like a knife. As she spoke, I felt a rush of hope. A flicker of unity ignited between us, a shared understanding that this battle was not just against the wraith, but against the chains of our own fears. The wraith let out a guttural laugh, a sound that reverberated through the forest, mocking our resolve. "You think your petty light can defeat me?" It sneered, its voice like gravel. "I have thrived on your despair for centuries. You are trapped in your own guilt, and it will be your undoing." But as it spoke, I sensed a shift. The daughters, once fractured by their history, began to weave their energies together, forming a brilliant tapestry of light that encircled us. It was beautiful and strong, a testament to the strength of their bond. I raised my hands, feeling the warmth of their energy flow into me, mingling with my own, creating a radiant shield that pulsed with every heartbeat. "Together, we are unstoppable," I shouted, and as I did, I felt the energy around us surge. The Wraith's expression shifted, from confidence to desperation as it realized that its hold on us was weakening. Fear flickered in its dark eyes, and for the first time, it seemed uncertain. "You cannot escape your fate," it hissed, but I could sense the cracks in its facade. It reached out, attempting to unleash another wave of terror, but we stood firm. Lyra and the other daughters raised their arms, their voices rising in harmony as they channeled their energy into a concentrated beam of light directed at the Wraith. The brilliance enveloped the spirit, illuminating the dark recesses of the forest, chasing away the shadows that clung to the trees. The Wraith writhed, its form contorting and twisting, a desperate attempt to break free. "No! You will not bind me!" it screamed, but the light was relentless. With one final surge of energy, I shouted, "Remember the truth of your past. Remember the love that once united you." My words fueled the light, and I could feel the daughters drawing strength from them, their resolve solidifying into something tangible. It was as if we were reaching back through time, connecting with the bonds that had once held them together, long before the betrayal. As the Wraith's power began to falter, a figure emerged from the shadows, a translucent form that flickered like a candle in the wind. It was the exiled daughter, the one whose betrayal had fractured their society. Her appearance was ethereal, her eyes filled with remorse and longing. "Please, I never meant for this to happen," she pleaded, her voice a soft echo against the chaos. I was lost, consumed by my own fears. The Wraith promised me power, and in my desperation, I betrayed my kin. Her luminous skin flickered with uncertainty, a stark contrast to the vibrant glow of the daughters standing resolutely beside me. I turned to the daughters, sensing the turmoil within them. "This is your chance to confront your past," I urged. "To forgive and to heal." Lyra stepped forward, her eyes locking onto the exiled daughters. "You were lost, but we can find a way forward together. We carry the weight of your betrayal, but we can also carry the weight of your redemption." Her voice was firm, but there was compassion woven within her words. The exiled daughter's form shimmered, and for a moment, I thought she might dissolve into the shadows. But then, she took a deep breath, her shoulders straightening. "I wish to atone. I wish to help you break this curse." As she spoke those words, the Wraith howled, its form twisting wildly as it struggled against the light that surrounded it. "You think you can break free just like that? You are nothing without your despair. You will always be bound to your past." But the Daughters of Light were no longer listening to the Wraith's taunts. They stood united, their energies intertwined, a brilliant display of shimmering blues and silvers that illuminated the forest in a way I had never seen before. The air was electric, charged with the potential of their collective strength. "Together, we can rewrite our story," I shouted, bolstered by their resolve. "We can transform this darkness into light." With that, we launched forward, a unified front against the Wraith. The exiled daughter stepped into the circle of light, her presence amplifying our energy. "Let us break the chains of betrayal," she echoed, and with a powerful surge, we directed our combined light straight at the Wraith. The impact was monumental. A blinding flash filled the forest, and for a moment, everything was silent. Then, the Wraith erupted in a cacophony of anguished cries as the light enveloped it completely. The darkness that had held the daughters captive for so long began to unravel, the tendrils of despair dissipating like smoke in the wind. As the light consumed the Wraith, I felt the forest around us tremble, not with fear, but with liberation. The trees shimmered, their bioluminescence brightening as if celebrating our victory. The Wraith's cries faded into echoes, and finally, there was silence. We stood there, panting, the remnants of our energy shimmering around us. The exiled daughter looked at the daughters, her eyes filled with tears. "I am so sorry for the pain I caused. I never wanted this for us." Lyra stepped forward and embraced her. "We will heal together. You are still one of us." In that moment, I felt the weight of the universe shift. The curse that had bound them for centuries was finally lifted, and I knew our journey together was just beginning. The Daughters of Light were no longer prisoners of their past. They were free to explore the universe, to reconnect with the worlds they had long forgotten. As we emerged from the forest, the stars overhead shimmered brighter than I had ever seen. I turned to the daughters, a sense of awe washing over me. "What will you do now?" I asked, my heart racing with excitement for their future. Lyra smiled, her luminous skin radiating a warmth that enveloped us all. "We will spread our light across the universe. We will share our stories of redemption and hope. Together, we will forge new connections and heal the wounds of the past. I nodded, feeling a surge of purpose within me. Standing with these incredible beings, I knew that I had found my place among them. We were bound together now, not just by our experiences, but by a shared vision of a brighter future. As we ventured into the galaxy, I realized that understanding and forgiveness could transcend even the darkest of betrayals. Together, we would embark on a new adventure, a journey filled with hope, light, and the promise of a future where we would never again be defined by our past.